Am I ready? Good morning. Welcome to the 2019 State of Eagan Address. My name is Maureen Scallon-Failer, President of the Dakota County Regional Chamber of Commerce. On behalf of the Chamber, we are honored to host this event in partnership with the City of Eagan. I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge our sponsors. Today's event is sponsored by Think Mutual Bank, named the 2018 Small Business of the Year by the Dakota County Regional Chamber of Commerce. Think has demonstrated their commitment to the Eagan community by supporting local businesses, giving generously to many nonprofit organizations, and supporting local events. Their commitment to Eagan is eclipsed only by the focus of helping customers build a better life. The Eagan Convention and Visitors Bureau, Enjoy Eagan, it's where fantastic fun is found. And it's also the official marketing organization for the City of Eagan and works to aggressively promote Eagan as a year-round business and leisure travel destination to domestic and international travel markets in an effort to generate a great economic impact for the community. Could the representatives of Think Mutual Bank and the Eagan Convention and Visitors Bureau please stand and be recognized? If it weren't for sponsors such as Think Mutual Bank and the Convention and Visitors Bureau, we would not be able to hold wonderful, informative programs like we are holding today. We're also pleased we have many elected officials here with us this morning. And could all elected officials who are here with us today please stand and be recognized? Thank you so much for your work on local, county, state, and federal levels. We really deeply appreciate your public service and your commitment to Dakota County. Our Chamber's annual meeting was held in February, and our theme for this year was Better Together. Our Board of Directors has embraced this as our strategic vision, and we can truly accomplish great things when we work together with our community, city, and private public sector partners. Our initiatives, transit, workforce development, and housing will be our focus over the next few years. We look forward, excuse me, we look forward to partnering with all of you to achieve our goals as we do better together. We are also deeply appreciative of our partnership with the City of Eagan, and again, we are thrilled and honored to host this annual event. Now it is my extreme pleasure to introduce Kevin Warren, Chief Operating Officer of the Minnesota Vikings. Kevin.
It is truly a pleasure to be here today and to see so many faces. One of the special things about this thing that we call professional sports is we get an opportunity to meet people, wonderful people here in the state of Minnesota, around the United States and around the world. And it's my pleasure to stand here with, as I really say, partners, because this building, this facility, really is so much is attributed to people in this city of Eagan and the vision that you had, the grit, the professionalism that you put forth. And one thing I can say about everyone that we have dealt with in Eagan is that if they tell you they're going to do something, they do it, which is really important. I've been fortunate to be here at the Vikings starting my 15th season, and way back in 2004 when we worked on the purchase of the team with the Wilf family, and people have heard it say me before, there were kind of 5 major goals that we set forth in a meeting really in November of 2004 in New York, when it was decided that we would make a bid to purchase the Minnesota Vikings. And those items were, number one, we had to start with building a world-class franchise. And the only way you do that, you do it with world-class people. And one of the most world-class people, I don't know if that's correctly from an English standpoint, but you know what I mean, is someone here who really is a partner. And I've said before is that I've spent more time with him than anyone I have over the last 15 years, and that's Steve Poppin, who's our Executive Vice President, Chief Financial Officer. Steve, I'd like to. I think it's going to be interesting at some point in time when we retire. I think we're going to have to at least have an office somewhere that we can go to and hang out, because we were next to each other in Winter Park and we're next to each other here, and I just appreciate making so many decisions together. But we built a world-class franchise here, restructured the organization. We have a diverse group of people that work here. When we bought the team, it was 92 employees. Now we're about 215. We have women in key positions. We have a vice president of finance, a vice president of legal, a vice president of people and culture, vice president of partnership activation. We have people in key positions here from a diverse standpoint. We've hosted an LGBTQ symposium in this room. So what we're trying to do is really give people, regardless of their background, race, color, creed, educational experience, an opportunity to really grow and build a great franchise. The second thing we had to do was to build a stadium, and I can say that we have the best sports stadium in the world, and that's US Bank Stadium. The third thing was to host a Super Bowl, because it's important for areas here, places like Minnesota, northern climate places, to get a Super Bowl, and we worked really hard to get Super Bowl 52. A lot of people in this room were instrumental in that. The fourth thing on that list was to build a world-class headquarters, and you're in it here today. It was not easy, but to be able to work with the people of Eagan, and as I said, everything they said that they were going to do and some, and to do this and to build this facility, as you can see, it is absolutely spectacular, and has been lauded as the best sports practice facility in all of the world. And we've had a chance to build this. Steve and I toured practice facilities in London, in the EPL, a lot of college facilities, pro facilities, and I can stand here before you today, and this is not puffery, to say this is the best practice facility, sports headquarters in all of the world here in Eagan. And the last item, which is very important, is to bring home a Lombardi Trophy. And so a lot of the things that you've seen, just like in the circular drive, you may look and say something's missing. We're holding that space, so when we build a Lombardi Trophy, we can put a statue there. But I say that sincerely. We work every day here, from a business, from a financial, from a football, from an operational, from an ownership standpoint, to bring a Lombardi Trophy here, not only to the great state of Minnesota, but the great city of Eagan. And so again, I'd like to welcome you today, to thank you for everything you've done, and to also thank you for everything that you're going to do. And make yourself at home. And at this time, I would like to introduce our Mayor Maguire, who has really been a leader, who has been a hard worker, who's been a friend, and who has kept his word on everything that he said he would do to help us to build this facility here that he has done, and is just beginning. We look forward to a wonderful relationship. I think Mayor Maguire is.
Hello? Mr. Mayor? Where are you? The state of the city's about to start.
Yeah, I know. About that, I've got a little bit of a problem here.
Well, we can't really start without you. What's going on?
Well, my car died. My cell battery is low. Janelle's not answering her phone, and I need a ride to the state of the city, Dave.
Okay, we can work this out. But you're not wearing the hat, right?
Dave, I'm serious.
I know, but we talked about this.
Up, battery's dead.
Hello? Mayor?
Having car trouble, Mr. Mayor?
I am, and I'm really late for the state of the city. Can you help me out, Emmett?
Well, actually, I'm more of a Vikings fan, but I can give you a ride.
Well, you're a lifesaver. I appreciate it.
All right.
Reports of slippery road conditions on Duckwood and Blue Jay Way. Any plows able to respond?
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, but I gotta get going. I gotta get some salt down on the roads.
Well, the work's never done, is it?
All right.
Good luck, Emmett.
Thank you.
Roger. Oh man, am I glad to see you. Kind of ironic, really, a cop outside of a donut shop, huh?
Mr. Mayor, it's good to see you. Kind of ironic to see a vegan mayor in a Patriots hat?
Touche, my friend, touche. But seriously, Roger, I'm in a real jam here. I'm late for the State of the City and I need a ride. Can you help me out?
Yeah, I can help you out. Let's go.
That's great, yeah.
This is dispatch. We have a 1091 in progress, corner of Lexington and Dingley. Any officers able to
Mayor,
respond?
I gotta take this.
I know you gotta go. Well, thanks anyways, Roger. I appreciate it.
Here's a donut.
Hey, thanks.
And by the way, lose the hat.
Thanks for the advice. Is that Tom? Tom! Tom! Tom!
Skol Vikings! Mr. Mayor, who's the hat?
Yeah. Get the hat. Cheryl, Christina, I know you're busy, but I have had a heck of a time trying to get to the State of the City, and I could really use a ride. Can you help me out?
We would, but we're swamped with work. Still celebrating the Super Bowl win? Really?
Yeah, you know, it was Brady and Belichick 6.
We know.
We
all know. Why don't you reserve a city car?
Perfect. And thanks for all your hard work.
Lester Bagley, the Vice President of Community Relations for the Minnesota Vikings? Well, anyway, Lester, I'm really glad to see you. I'm running late for the State of the City, and I got to get in the building.
Yeah, I know, but I just can't let you in.
Well, what's the problem, Lester? It doesn't seem very inclusive. Okay.
All right, you can go in now. Welcome to the home of the Minnesota Vikings.
Thanks, Lester.
Sorry I'm late. I really am. Just let me get a little ready here. Dave, you can take those. Appreciate it. Thanks so much. I'm really sorry I'm late. I got to tell you, that's what you get when you tell the folks at ETV that there is no such thing as a bad idea. But on the good news side, you'll be amazed at the weather and how it's cleared up when you go outside afterwards today. I'm really glad to be here today, and I'm really appreciative that all of you are too. Maureen, my thanks to you and the Chamber for hosting the event today and for getting things underway while I was in transit. Kevin Warren and Steve Poppin and Lester Bagley, wherever you are, We really appreciate you and your staff for hosting us today as well. You know, it's been about a year since the Minnesota Vikings moved to Eagan officially, and time after time, they've invited our community into their home. We appreciate your commitment to our community, Kevin, and we know that that partnership is a core value of your organization. We hope that this new location brings many, many successes your way in the years to come. I also need to give a shout out to Chief Roger New and all of our police officers, our plow truck drivers, and our firefighters. Not so much for the help they didn't give me on the way here today, but we're just off a historically tough February. And we need to thank all of them for the hard work they did to keep Eagan's roads clear and safe and Eagan open for business. Let's give them a round of applause on a tough month. Please join me as well in thanking all of the City of Eagan staff in all departments, from administration and finance to community development, communications, public works, and parks. You know, I might be here today delivering the state of the city, but it really is the work they do every day that helps to create the state of our city. Let's give them a round of applause, please. My thanks also to the Eagan City Council. They are the city's off-field coaching staff who've been a great team for more than 10 years, and it's my honor to work with them and deliver today's State of the City on behalf of the City Council and the entire city staff. And finally, to my wife and my son Ian, Janelle has been here for 13 State of the Cities, and she hasn't missed one. I don't think there's any more I can say to thank her than thank you for being here all the time, all year. And also, I want to point out that I'm glad my son Ian can join us. If you enjoyed the video earlier, it was actually Ian's idea that we include the bike. It was also his idea that I crash it into a snowbank, but that's a whole nother story. But Ian, thanks for coming today. We really appreciate it. Today we are fortunate to be hosted at the new home of the Minnesota Vikings. And we appreciate your allowing us to use this fabulous and amazing space. But more importantly, we thank the Minnesota Vikings for being another strong business that chose to make Eagan its home. What I experienced during this morning commute, beyond a creative commute, is really what we saw was the state of the city. You saw some of the places that have recently developed, like Central Park Commons, the Quarry, and of course, this re-energized quadrant of Northeast Eagan. Each of these developments has quickly become an integrated part of this community, and they are helping to shape our landscape into the future. You saw newer landmarks, like the Windhorse sculpture and the increasingly beloved community icon, the Sperry Tower, which reflects our community's continuing commitment to invest in public art. We saw a diverse group of city staff who help to keep Eagan safe, functioning well, and they are making a difference in ways large and small. And later on in this presentation, you'll see even more of that. These are the factors that are working together to make Eagan a vibrant community and a vital destination in this region and beyond. You know, the people of Eagan, people who work here, who play here, who call Eagan home, those of you sitting in this room here today, all share some common core values. Values like quality service delivery, a commitment to listen and to be responsive, a promise to be accessible and inclusive to everyone, and a dedication to reinvesting in this community. These values make Eagan a successful city and a strong community. So let there be no doubt that the state of our city is strong and that Eagan is taking its place as a vibrant destination, and our community and our citizens are thriving. So I'll start this morning by focusing on the people of Eagan, because it's our people that create the collective vibrance and energy of our community. Recently, I had the opportunity to help Prime Therapeutics open its beautiful new offices just next door to where we sit this morning. At that celebration, I spoke about the importance of the people of Prime and the great honor that we at City Hall felt when we learned that that company had chosen to remain and reinvest in Eagan. Prime is consolidating its workforce in Eagan and will soon have nearly 2,000 employees working at its new 400,000 square foot site. Congratulations, Prime Therapeutics, on that. They, like so many other Eagan companies, are growing, expanding, and helping to shape our community. Data recently released by the Minnesota Department of Economic Development shows that Eagan is now the 6th largest job center in the state of Minnesota, with 60,000 workers and almost 2,000 businesses. Feel free to applaud that. There we go. In fact, companies within Eagan have added over 8,600 jobs in the last decade. About 4,000 of them have been in the healthcare sector at places like Blue Cross Blue Shield of Minnesota, one of Eagan's long-standing large businesses. Additions like the Twin Cities Orthopedics here on the campus of Vikings Lakes and their training house as well. At the consolidation of the Fairview Health Clinics on Central Park Commons, at Summit Orthopedics, and of course, Prime Therapeutics. The finance and insurance sectors have added almost 3,000 jobs, and nearly 3,000 more were in transportation and warehousing. Businesses large and small are growing and reinvesting in Eagan. The data shows this. Our record level of permits and valuations show this. And national and regional business recognitions show this as well. Locally, Eagan had 3 leaders named to the Twin Cities Business Journal's Fast 50 Growing Companies list. On a national front, the 2018 Inc. Magazine 5000 list included 5 Eagan businesses. And based on positive community assets, such as the city's educated workforce, our city's good planning, and shorter than average commute times, Eagan was placed in the top 10% of U.S. cities for small businesses in Verizon's annual rankings, one of only 3 Minnesota cities to be named on that list. Businesses are finding value here. Let's hear from some of them.
Aziz Diner really started here about almost 8 years ago. So we loved Eagan. We wanted to kind of get a business in Eagan if we could. I'm a big community guy. I know a lot of the city people come here and eat. I love Eagan.
I run a bank here in Eagan that I opened up 12 years ago. We just couldn't be happier with the cost of our taxes, with the benefits that we receive as citizens, with the amenities that are available to us.
We definitely see and appreciate the great partnership with the various departments within the city of Eagan. I know that whether we're working through a communications topic or otherwise, I know exactly who to reach out to.
The reception we've got from the city of Eagan as well as the chamber has been terrific. I think the strongest attributes that Eagan has for us as a business is it's so diverse. We have families that have young children, we have more senior members.
Eagan has always been proactive in trying to attract new businesses. I've been very fortunate to have my business located in Eagan. I don't think there's a better city because of its size, the people that are here, and all the different other businesses that associate with Eagan.
We have so much excitement and collaboration around how we can work together and continue highlighting the great city in which we live.
You know, among Eagan's thriving organizations is one that is especially close to me and, quite frankly, close to all of you as well. There are currently about 250 full-time and nearly 700 part-time people who work for the city of Eagan annually, doing everything from inspecting, plowing, licensing, mapping geodata, providing the water for our coffee in the morning, and so much more. Often, They're people that you don't even think about. But the valuable services they provide are part of our everyday lives in ways so seamless, they may never cross your mind. Routinely, our staff responds to situations that keep you safe, that improve your surroundings, or simply make your life a little easier or a little more fun. Take, for example, the Cub Foods manager who called our assistant fire chief last month when he noticed that the sprinkler heads in his store had shifted overnight. Darren Bramwell stopped by to take a look at it, and it's a good thing he did. The polar vortex had actually frozen the pipes, and there were about a quick visit prevented for that business. Some of our preventative measures are less spontaneous. They take months of coordinated planning to anticipate and to keep problems from impacting the public. Case in point, the site where we are today. From the moment the Vikings began looking at this property and dreaming big, our city team partnered with them to ensure that the location and the surrounding road system could accommodate their ambitious vision and the thousands of additional visitors that would be coming to this destination. Preparation for the Vikings training camp involves staff from every part of city operations, as well as many other partners like MnDOT, Dakota County, and the neighbors who are businesses around this site as well. In advance of the training camp, our Public Works Director talked about some of the preparation involved to ensure success.
What we've been studying over the last 20 years is the area as a whole, so the state highways, the county roads, the city collector roads. We knew that eventually someone would develop this site. We didn't know it was going to be the Vikings, but we knew someone was going to, because this is a valuable location. And so we've got a good understanding of the traffic that not only would come to this site once it's developed, because that in itself will generate traffic, but we're also keeping an eye on the traffic that's just driving through the area, that's on the state highways or on the interstate systems. Traffic signal revisions that will be accommodated by MnDOT, and then just some other overall general signage that MnDOT is coordinating with the Vikings. We're trying to make sure that fans can get to and from the site as efficiently and as quickly as possible, but also that the neighboring businesses, the neighboring residents, and just those folks that are traveling through the area are accommodated as well, and they're not inappropriately hampered by any traffic related to any events that are hosted here at the TCO Performance Center.
You know, I'm just amazed all the time. Our staffs are really pros at what they do, and traffic management has proven to be no exception through the years. I am pleased to say that there were absolutely no major incidents or impacts during the training camp or the high school football games or other events that happened at this site this past summer and fall. And beyond that, we're looking forward to other big plans that the Vikings and their partners have for the rest of this property. Next up, a full-service conference center hotel. Footings and foundations are already becoming visible just east of this building as the snow starts to melt. And at over 12 stories, it'll be the tallest structure yet on the Eagan skyline. Right, Dave? But as noted last year, the Vikings aren't the only game in town. Eagan continues to see business growth and major investment in existing buildings across the city. In the past 10 months alone, 10 projects totaling $19 million in new building valuation have been approved. A few places topping the value chart include Ecolab, where they're updating 3 buildings on their campus. T-Mobile and DataBank are both expanding their technology space. And Walser Auto's new reconditioning center, Blue Cross Blue Shield's office remodel, and Hy-Vee's distribution center each are adding more than $2 million in value. Another development that is highly visible right now took a long time and coming. The Quarry project next to the Central Park Commons was for decades one of Eagan's last remaining cornfields. It now includes Aldi and a Residence Inn, and soon the Applewood Point Senior Living Facility and a 4-story quarry at Central Parks Apartments will open. all of them, overlook and connect with our newly expanded Quarry Park. Businesses aren't the only ones with a desire to invest and grow here in Eagan. We in City Hall need to reinvest and modernize as well. As in your businesses, that starts with a strong financial foundation. So let's talk finances for a minute. The City of Eagan has a AAA bond rating. Now, I've talked about this news for about the past 8 years since we achieved that bond rating. But what does the city's high rating really mean to you as businesses and as taxpayers? Well, in part, it means that the City of Eagan is fiscally strong. And we've noted already how a strong city can attract and keep strong businesses. It also means that the city gets to borrow money at a lower cost, benefiting taxpayers and businesses alike, which is great, actually, when you think about it, when we're making renovations like the ones underway currently at City Hall and our Central Police facility. So let's hear from our lead staff on these two projects.
First of all, thank you for your patience as residents, as the business community. And it's been 25 years since our last remodel was done here at the city, and that was, I'd call that more of a facelift than a true remodel, whereas this remodel here today really is new facilities within the same shell of a wall. Throughout the remodel, City Hall will stay open, as will the police department. Because of that, we needed to extend the timeline to do the project in phases. So right now, the police department's working out of City Hall, but they will soon be moving back sometime this summer.
I'm Police Chief Roger New. Eagan is known as a safe community. This project will help keep it that way for years to come. The goal behind the project was to create enough space to accommodate our staff and build for the future. We had a number of security concerns at our old facility, which will be addressed as part of this new project. For example, staff will have secure parking lots to park in. The public and private spaces within the building will be separated. The public and private spaces within the building will be separated. And prisoner releases will be done in a more secure manner than they were in the past. We were also looking for ways to protect the city's investment, and this is our new indoor parking facility. As part of this project, we had to think 20 to 30 years ahead and consider switching from gas to electric vehicles. The garage will allow us to remove marked squats from varying Minnesota weather conditions, and at the same time serve as an opportunity to shut off the cars during the winter, which should result in a financial savings for the city and taxpayers. Technology has also changed the way we police, which can be seen throughout the renovation project. This is a public asset that will maintain and improve public safety in Eagan for the next 30 years.
The big question is, when are you going to be done with this project? We're optimistic and we're confident that we're going to be ready to go for sure sometime in the first quarter of 2020. So when residents come to the new facility, they're going to have their services met in a much better, more efficient way, and we're really proud of that.
You know, not unlike your businesses, the city is recognizing that it's not only where we work, but how we work now that is changing. The demands upon us are different than a decade ago. Identifying these changes forces us to adapt our service models so that we can continue to serve the public well, now, and into the future. Nowhere is that more evident than in our organization than in our fire department. For 15 years, Eagan has been adapting its staffing model, moving from the second largest all-volunteer fire department in the state of Minnesota to becoming a modernized 24/7 full-time paid department. Now, I can talk about the benefits of this long-term and the response times, but I'd rather have you hear what this transition has meant to the people who have lived it.
In 2015, we had a fire that put Eagan on the front page of the newspaper. It was a fire that started in the garage. It took us that long time to get there under the old staffing model. One of the fires that just happened a few weeks ago was just 2 blocks away from that fire 5 years ago. and our on-duty crew got there 9 minutes faster. 9 minutes again is huge. So this model is definitely making a big difference for our community.
Back when Dave and I started, there were bigger fires.
You had to drive a long distance to get to the fire stations.
So by the time we got there, there was a lot of fire to be fighting. We just used water and a hose, and that was all we had to fight fires with.
3311, 3315 to back. We have a structure fire.
In the early days of the department, volunteers would be at work, home, or elsewhere when they received an alert from dispatch. Everybody who could make it would get into their vehicles and head to their assigned fire station and gear up. And when enough volunteers could get there, they would drive the fire trucks to the scene.
Even though we still got there quick, you needed to be a lot faster because it was burning a lot faster too.
As a volunteer, I was responding from home to the fire station and then to the call. Full-time, we are at the station 24/7, so we are able to have a faster response time.
Switching over to the full-time side, we can quickly get out the door within 2 minutes now and get to wherever we need to be much faster than we could when I first started.
Good to have someone here 24/7. You know that you're getting at least 2 people.
It's safer, we can get there faster and eliminate the problem quicker.
Everybody get a chance to notice our Chief Scott with hair? I think it was a mullet, actually, circa 1980. So, congratulations on that, Mike. We're sorry it doesn't continue. I can honestly say, never state fire department and its long commitment and history of volunteerism. Eagan would not be the community that it is today without the service of Dave and Ann and their brothers and sisters in our Eagan Fire Department. I'm also immensely grateful to Chief Scott for his steadfast determination and ability to recognize the changing needs of our community and his willingness to create a plan to adapt. Mike was actually just recently named Minnesota's Fire Officer of the Year for his leadership in this transition, and we couldn't be more proud of Mike's work. Thanks, Mike. It's only by adapting that this department is going to remain bold, resolute, and vital for years to come. Again, Mike, thank you. You know, several years ago, we also set out to determine what the people of Eagan, as a city, our job is to create a place that fosters prosperity. It's one of the promises that we make to the community. We do this by encouraging growth and jobs, and through strategic economic development, through prudent fiscal stewardship, and by modernizing our facilities and amenities, and by adapting our operations to fit the evolving needs of our citizens. These are the tried and true traditions that have made Eagan successful. However, the state of our city is defined not just by our success as a city, but by the strength of our community as well. So several years ago, we set out to determine what the people of Eagan wanted their community to be 20 years into the future. Through the Eagan Forward process, we intentionally asked ourselves and the community, what more do we need to do, to build, to include, or to attract, to ensure our future vibrancy and strength? As most of you are very aware, Eagan Forward strategies were developed to help us create that community that we aspire to be. And I have to tell you, since we received this deluge of input from citizens and businesses, and we've developed strategies to follow up, well, our city council goal-setting retreats have become, well, frankly, quite boring. But in all seriousness, Eagan Forward created a set of shared expectations, a community promise that we can each take a piece of, make our own, and actively work to make Eagan a place for all people. As for the city, throughout our city operations, we've begun to recognize that if we're going to be a place that serves all people, we need to make sure that we see all people. We're taking some active steps to widen our view and to ensure that inclusivity and engagement are at the core of every service we provide and every site and facility that we own and operate. You know, although many people think of Eagan as an affluent suburb, there's a portion of this community that just doesn't fit that picture. In fact, almost 7% of our residents have a household income below the poverty level, and another 4% live only marginally above that level. Our Parks and Recreation staff saw this, and in order to help all people participate more fully in our programs, we recently approved a modified fee option that takes the place of previous scholarship programs that we had in the city. The new option is more inclusive, it offers more flexibility, and it's available for residents of every age. We've also added more free recreation programs that people asked for, like our new pop-up park events. These programs don't require registration, and they serve every part of our community. Our fire department also saw a need of our community. Our fire department also saw a need, and as usual, it responded. They saw kids without warm coats at Ron Elementary. Firefighters partnered with Operation Warm to provide a coat for every preschooler through first grade. The school staff told them that some of these kids had never had a brand new coat of their own. And I think the smiles tell you the story. An initiative that all of our city staff and council have committed to is one that I touched on last year called GARE, the Government Alliance on Race and Equity. Now, race and ethnicity and equity conversations are never quite easy ones to have. But recognizing that fully 1/4 of our residents are people of color means that it's important that we have those hard conversations. So we've committed to reviewing all of our practices, programs, and policies to help ensure that all people of Eagan are treated equitably and served well. We've committed to asking the tough questions and, moreover, implementing meaningful change across our organization to lead the way towards being a racially and culturally inclusive community. We've just begun this work, but we've pledged to make it an ongoing effort for years to come. Another way that we've made strides forward in being a place for all people is by evaluating our buildings and our play spaces to ensure that opportunities exist for people of all ages and abilities. About 45% of Eagan's residents are between the ages of 25 and 54. Another 10% are over the age of 65, and about 1/4 of our population are kids. With this in mind, the city dedicated a record level of capital funding for parks improvement in 2018 to create amenities designed for some very specific age groups, items that ranked high in the community wish list during Eagan Forward. Now, I could tell you about all these, but I'd rather show you some of the great new additions to our community.
Enjoy the Eagan Splash Pad.
You can see how building this new water playground behind the Eagan Community Center was a popular idea. It's called the Splash Pad, and it's free for everyone to enjoy.
I think it's a nice amenity for us to have in Eagan. I think the Parks and Recreation Committee has done a fine job of working and planning on this. Eagan Forward did a great job. This was a suggestion that came out of that initiative.
8 new pickleball courts were opened last year at Quarry Park. This new low-impact sport is growing in popularity, and it appeals to older adults.
We enjoy being in Eagan. They have everything we need here at any age.
We continue to build new amenities for all ages in our 56 parks. It's a natural outcome of listening to our residents. A group of teens asked for a skate park, so we built it at the Lexington Diffley Athletic Complex and included their ideas. We built a new nature playground behind the Eagan Art House in Patrick Eagan Park.
So most of the logs you see at Nature Play on the ground and the log slab benches came from ash trees in Eagan that were taken down for the emerald ash borer infestation problem we have.
Kids love climbing on the trees, the rock wall, and the cave. We also added adventure with the new zip line.
Another new amenity in Eagan parks are art benches. 4 more of these unique artworks will appear this year. Art is showing up elsewhere. Beautiful butterflies welcome visitors to the city parking ramp at Twin Cities Premium Outlets. The metal sculpture called Windhorse was installed at the busiest intersection in the city, at Yankee Doodle Road and Pilot Knob Road. And when the City Hall project is finished, a new sculpture will be placed in the plaza.
From splash pads to pickleball courts to skate parks, we are always looking to put in high-quality, long-lasting amenities for the city of Eagan.
How we communicate and connect with people has also changed dramatically over the past decade. Across the organization, we know we have an obligation to adapt. We've strategically shifted how we bring people into our decisions and processes, and wherever possible, are meeting people where they are. From the election staff who literally met mobility-challenged voters at curbside, to building inspectors who are taking their skills directly to the places where people really need them. The aisles of Home Depot, the Home and Leisure Show, and our Market Fest events as well. During the comprehensive guide update process, we gave people an online tool to tell us what problems and opportunities they see in our city. They could actually pinpoint through this tool where their comments were aimed and where in the city they want to see change. We can certainly no longer simply send a newsletter or post information on a bulletin board or even our city website and expect that people will see it or engage. So now we're using Facebook, Twitter, Nextdoor, Instagram, and email blasts to communicate to a broad cross-section of people on the platforms that they choose to engage. Soon we'll be rolling out text messaging for city notifications as well. Because let's face it, we're all busy and we all want the information we want, when we want it, and where we want to get it. So we're working hard to try to serve that need. One example is our recent resident satisfaction survey. Now, as a city council and city staff, we were gratified to find that people still love this community and they feel that the city is providing quality services. Certainly there's always room to grow and to improve, but in all of the important benchmarks, Eagan met or exceeded all participating cities nationwide. But perhaps more important to us in the city is that we were further pleased by the level of engagement our community showed in taking the survey. By reaching out not just by mail but digitally as well, more than 1,300 residents shared their thoughts with us. Some of our liveliest social engagement is happening through the Eagan Police Department. Their social media team, led by Officer Aaron Moctimus, who's sitting right over here, has helped commit the police to stepping out from behind the badge and engaging the public where they are as well. It helps the community to feel more connected, and it gives insights into the job that Eagan police do every day. They're doing virtual ride-alongs where an officer live tweets their shift, responding to calls, traffic incidents, and offering public safety advice all day long. The Eagan Police Department's social media feeds also include clever videos that remind us about things like school bus safety and odd-even parking. And the highly popular in-person meetups called Coffee with a Cop at coffee shops around town as well.
It's fun. It really is. It gets you a chance to interact with you, the police force. I'm a veteran myself, the U.S. Army, 8 years. And it's good to get out and meet other people in the community.
I think it's good for kids to have the exposure and to learn who the police are and that they're good people and have that experience.
A fabulous job, Aaron. Thanks. You know, I've shared a lot about what we've done collectively to build a successful city. Our focus and success at bringing in businesses, broadening our tax base, continuing growth, and creating an environment where small, medium, and large businesses thrive and invest in their future here in Eagan. I've also shared with you our vision of a strong and inclusive community where all of our residents feel a part of and at home in our community. We've created a great formula here, and we've been forward-thinking. Our mission now is to continue to build upon and sustain this success. Now, in years past, you've heard me talk about the importance of having homes for the talent and the workforce our city needs for continued success. So what's different this year? Well, all around the state and our region, both the public and the private sectors, state and local governments, businesses, and employers are recognizing that in order to remain competitive as a state, to thrive economically as communities, and to grow as businesses, our communities must have homes for the talent and the workforce that our employers need. Homes that are affordable at all levels. In short, our housing stock needs to reflect the diversity of talent, skills, and wages that fuel Eagan's success and the amenities that make Eagan an attractive community. Greater MSP markets our region nationally and has identified this as an issue of regional competitiveness. So last year, I spoke to these issues in a video explaining these priorities to business leaders across our region.
One of the things that matters in terms of housing affordability and competitiveness in the region is the workforce shortage that we're hearing back increasingly from employers. It's really the number one issue that we hear in Eagan and throughout the region. And that workforce issue is in part an access to affordable housing issue as well. Those things collide in a way that's very unproductive for the region competitively. I think what's encouraging is that the business sector is realizing that they can no longer watch this as a social issue from the bench, but they really have to get in the game and pay attention to it because it's a matter of their business and their business's competitiveness and functioning. And I think what's most important is that we reframe the affordable housing issue not as a moral imperative, not as a political issue, but as an economic development issue with an economic and a competitiveness imperative to it. So the more businesses that can get out and really make their workforce challenges into housing challenges and understand them through that lens, I think the more helpful it is for local leaders like me and across the region to try to work together in partnership to address those issues. It's an opportunity for us really to get a leg up on some of the markets that we're competing with.
This last August, the Governor's Task Force on Housing that I participated in made its report. The task force noted a significant decrease in the production of new homes following the Great Recession, an undersupply of nearly 50,000 new homes across the state. The resulting lack of supply is putting upward pressure on housing costs, particularly for young professionals and critical workforce in healthcare, in the service industry, and in manufacturing. Traditionally more affordable than the coasts and other metro regions, Minnesota is at risk of losing a competitive advantage. If we can't increase production and ensure that the new homes match the workforce needs of employers, we risk falling behind. Locally, we should note that I've talked about new Eagan jobs in the thousands and new homes for our growing workforce in the hundreds. If we measure our success by our ability to attract and retain employers and jobs, the availability of homes and workforce is an equally important measure. We heard workforce availability concerns from our city business survey. We've heard residents worry that their children who grew up in Eagan can't afford to return when they start their careers as teachers or cops or firefighters, like we swore in on Tuesday night. Restaurants have had to delay openings, not because they couldn't complete build-out or get the inspections they needed, but because they couldn't find the workers that they need to open the doors. The reality is, we as a community that wants to continue to grow and thrive, need hotshot and the first-year math teacher to the punch pizza cook and the third shifter at Amazon or Gopher Resources. That is, I believe, the fundamental challenge before us as a city and as a community if we're to continue to build upon our successes. This year, housing along with transportation and workforce development is a top priority of the Dakota County Regional Chamber of Commerce. Both housing and transportation are also major parts of our city's updated comprehensive plan as well.
The Chamber is always looking for ways to partner and to foster economic development and sustainability in our communities. It is so important.
We're always looking for how we find a balance in how we live, work, and play here in Eagan. We work really hard with our businesses that employ 60,000 people here in Eagan to make sure our businesses have the tools to recruit and retain all of the workers that they need.
Well, we know there are three key elements that make our business community thrive: transit, workforce, and housing.
In 2016, Eagan's rental vacancy rate was only 1.5%. It means it is very difficult for someone to find housing. And just the supply and demand, like with everything else, with very low vacancy rates, housing prices tend to rise.
This is really our three-legged stool. Without one leg, we will not have a successful, thriving economic community. Without the necessary housing, either businesses cannot open their doors and be successful, or they have to delay opening their business.
We have to import people for those jobs from outside of Eagan. So we either need to be able to recruit those people to come here from other places, or we need to have housing here that makes jobs in Eagan more attractive.
Our communities have it all, but if we don't have the necessary infrastructure to attract the talent, to attract these potential employees, our businesses will not be successful.
We are gathering the facts that we need to put together a thoughtful plan. We're hearing from our residents, from our businesses, this is a need in the community, and we're listening.
With a public and private dialogue going on in our state and in our region like this one, we are like the one we've just seen as well among our community leaders, we're at an opportune moment for critical action. Fitting of that opportunity, I'm pleased to tell you that today, that in coming months and over the course of the next year, the City of Eagan and the Dakota County Regional Chamber of Commerce will be working together to try to convene and move forward the local dialogue about the diversity of Eagan's housing opportunities and our workforce needs. Our goal is to ask if we have the right mix of housing opportunities here in Eagan. Does it match the jobs that we have and the workforce we need to grow? And if there are gaps, what can we do together to address them? I hope that you as chamber members and non-chamber members as well, as businesses and as community leaders, will not only participate but lean into this dialogue, recognizing that your business and our city have a shared investment in our competitive future and these important questions. So, okay, enough with all the heavy stuff. I really want to thank you all for coming out today, and I want to get to wrap up the presentation here on an upbeat note. But before I do that, just a couple of thank yous. If you'd take a moment here, this is the first State of the City that I've done in 13 attempts without our former communication director, Tom Garrison. That means that a whole new team of people came together to try to create this presentation for you today. So first, let me take a second and thank all the folks from ETV who not only produced all the videos, most of the videos that you saw here, in this presentation today, but they've also been working today in the mobile truck outside and behind the cameras to make sure to broadcast the state of the city through ETV and Facebook as well. So please give them a round of applause. And our communication team, Joanna Foote and Crystal King is over here behind the screen. In Tom Garrison's absence, the two of them really took on yeoman's work to try to bring this presentation together, to manage this presentation, and I have every suspicion that Crystal's been tweeting out parts of this speech throughout the whole time as well. So let's give them a round of applause as well. Really good work. And I want to make sure to recognize as well our new Director of Communication and Engagement, Joe Alexson. Joe joined the process. Joe joined the State of the City process in February when we were already going. We really started this presentation planning for it back in January. But when he came in, he hit the ground running in February, and he did a lot of work to bring this speech together and to bring the logistics of all of this together today. So, Joe, thank you very much, and welcome to the City of Eagan. So with that, I want to thank you all for coming out today, and we want to end up on an upbeat note. So we've got one more video for you, a final celebration of the successful state of our city, the growing strength of our community, and the bright future of Eagan. Thank you. Thank you.